Greg Latimer with MysteriousDestinationsMagazine.com, where this month we're looking at reports of unknown type serpentine sea creatures in San Francisco Bay. Big sea creatures, like sea serpents, sea monsters. And a lot of this started with, well, there's obviously historical reports that go back, and those are all mentioned in the magazine articles. But there were two twin brothers, Bill and Bob Clark, who were having coffee down at Marina Green early one morning and witnessed something incredible. They witnessed, as they recall it, a large sea serpent chase a sea lion out of the water onto a ledge directly in front of them, and actually get stuck on the ledge, have to writhe about a bit to get off. That's the sea serpent, not the sea lion. The sea lion was able to make it off pretty quickly, according to the brothers, and then go back in the water. As far as I can tell, this is probably the closest I've ever heard of a report in modern days of human and cryptid sea serpent type encounters, and their descriptions are all pretty interesting. The tape that follows is Bill and Bob telling us exactly what they saw that morning in 1985 on Marina Green. Check it out and see what you think. We're here in the beautiful San Francisco Bay, where we've got a little break from the weather. It started out raining this morning, but fortunately the rain has gone away. And you can see we're right over here looking at Alcatraz Island from a marina, here with a beautiful view of the bay. And it was from this very location that several years ago Bill and Bob Clark say they observed a sea serpent come right up to the edge of this quay. At the time, they were sitting in their car right over here where this car is located, and having a little bit of coffee. And let's introduce you to Bill and Bob right now, and they'll tell you exactly what they saw and what it did. Right over here.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Bill.
Okay, go ahead and step right near the camera.
Okay, I'm Bill, and this is my brother Bob. And this is, we were in the car over there, and we were looking straight ahead out towards the bay there. And actually, the water was a little higher than it is even today. And it was the bay was very clear, like a calm, like a mirror. And it was a sunny morning that morning, and about 100 yards straight ahead of us, we saw 3 or 4 sea lions playing at the surface of the water. They were even closer than where that boat is going right now. They were closer towards us than that. And as we watched them, to the left over there, which is Stone Tower Point, we saw what we thought was another sea lion approaching the group of sea lions in front of us. And when this animal got within about 10 yards of the group, it actually stuck its head up like a telephone pole straight out of the water.
About 10 feet.
About 10 feet out of the water, and it lunged into the center of the group of sea lions, which caused them to scatter in several different directions. And this animal followed one of the sea lions as it skimmed across the surface of the water, and the sea lion circled around and came right in front of us here, about 5 to 10 yards in front of us. And unbeknownst to us, there's actually a rocky ledge about 4 or 5 feet down underneath this surface that extends about 10 or 15 yards further into the bay, and then it drops down to about 40 feet. So as this animal came across following the sea lion, it crashed into the rocks here and got caught on the rocky ledge about 10 yards into the bay. And that's when it started twisting and turning and to get off the rocks. And then it resettled a little further to the left here, and we saw the animal under the water form 4 folds in its body and look for the sea lion. And as it did that, the sea lion we could actually see the sea lion crawl out of the bay and climb onto Stone Point Tower. And then as we watched the animal for a few seconds, it sort of did a flex, and it turned to the right, and then it started heading out to the bay, approximately where that tugboat is. This headed in that direction, and we watched it until eventually it disappeared under the surface.
But it was right at this
But it was
location
right
here where we actually saw the most of the animal, except for the tail section. We saw it literally lift itself up out of the water and twist backwards to fall back into the deep water, and that's when we saw the midsection and the leathery underbelly, and we could see the scales in the midsection, and we were able to get we could see the fan-like fin, and we were able to get an excellent view of the animal. So,
and at that point, we were not aware that this ledge was here, and actually, we both thought that if it had gone in this direction, it would be landing right here, right in front of our car. So, I mean, we were pretty frightened by it. It was a frightening experience. At the same time, you're just in awe. But I mean, we were pretty frightened because we didn't know. We knew it was looking for breakfast, so we were worried that it might come this way. But fortunately, it did go back into the bay, and that's when, right after that, we did contact the Coast Guard, and the two Coast Guard helicopters came out, and they were only about 100 feet above the ground, and they went out that way towards the bay looking for the animal because we thought it was in the water, still in the water.
And do you remember what date that was?
That was
February 5th, 1985.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
was about
February 5th,
7:45 in the morning.
It was roughly 7:45, and it was sunny, and the sun was coming up from behind us. So this was actually, the water was very clear that day too, because it had been beautiful for 2 days, and all the silt had settled down. So we could literally, like today, you can't see under the water. But
Everything was perfect that day because the angle of the sun was coming and going right into this calm water, and we literally could see the animal, several feet under the water, just sitting there. And that's why when I originally saw it swim by, I did see a length of about 30 feet of it, and I thought it was a big snake. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's a big snake, and I'll see the end of it now. And when I was expecting to see the end of it, instead of seeing the end of it, it started to widen out. And that's when I really got scared. And unbelievable.
And I mean, we're talking about 5 to 10 yards. This is where it ended up. The rocks are right here. I mean, it's practically that close. And that's why my brother was actually going to go out and crawl along the ground and see if he could touch it. Fortunately, I stopped him. But, that's because the tail would be extended that way. And the midsection ended up there, and the front of the animal was to the left of us. And so, I mean, we're looking at anywhere from, I'd say, at least 60, 70, 80 feet, 100 feet in length. We never did see the actual tail end of it, so we can't say how long it was, but we saw a good 60 foot in length exposed above the surface of the water.
Well, a heck of a description from Bill and Bob. And the veracity level on this, I feel, is really high because some of the details they're talking about it would be hard to invent. And just the whole idea of the sea serpent rolling up right in front of them, and the fact that this incident compelled them for 15 years to travel the bay and try to get more photographs and videos of sea serpents. One of the videos we have is very compelling. You can find it here also on YouTube or at mysterioussdestinationsmagazine.com in our articles about the SF sea serpent. You'll be able to find a link back here to YouTube with the video on it. Definitely worth watching that video. And Marina Green, one of those great places where you can go look for the sea serpent yourself, located in San Francisco, sort of between the Presidio and Golden Gate Bridge and Fort Mason and the wharves on the east side there. The Marina Green, of course, is up on the north side of the city. And you can park your car right in there, enjoy some coffee from a nearby coffee stand, and bring your camera, bring your video, and see what you'll find. Perhaps help us out with the San Francisco Bay Sea Serpent search. Check out all the details at mysteriousdestinationsmagazine.com, where you can see for yourself.